authors arise from food activities and refer to 5 types of creation: suffering, avidya, ignorance, asmita, false egoism, uh, then raga, material attachment, danger, aversion. Hmm. So these are Dushkritya Tanartha, avidya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that this body is actually avidya, made of avidya. Chalendriya pahe kaal, jive phile vishay sagare, आरमत जीवती लोई ताक जटा कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ो दयामय कोरी बारे जीवा जोरे सो प्रसादन दिलोभाए से नामृत पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ. Oh brother, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. We have fallen in this ocean of material sense enjoyment. All of the senses, the tongue is the most difficult to control. Being always ready to taste things, but brother, Krishna is so merciful that he gives us his prasad, the remnants from his own mouth, to help us conquer the tongue. So the easy way to get rid of avidya is honoring Mahaprasad. This prasad is full of nectar. Honoring this prasad, sing the glories of Radha and Krishna, and with love call for the help of Chaitanya Nitai. So this avidya is actually dangerous. So we should try to get rid of avidya by honoring Krishna Prasad by chanting the holy name. And then, similarly, asmita, false egoism. This is called asmita, false egoism. That I am this, I am that, all this is actually false ego. Mahaprabhu told us, Aham Vipro Nagarapatir Nath Vaishwara Shuddha. Nova Vardi Nijugrahapatir Vanasthoyatirma. Kintu Pratyam Nikhila Paramananda Purnam Databhir Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasandasa. I am not Brahman Kshatriya Vaishya Shudra, but I am the servant of the gopis. I am the servant of the gopis. This is our real identity. And then Asmita is actually the false egoism arising from the conception of I and mine in relation to material body. That this is I and this is mine. This is called Asmita. So this is actually one type of anartha. Asmita. The false ego arising from the bodily conception of life. We should try to give up this bodily conception of life. That I am this body, or everything I see. This actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has actually a song. And easily, in that song, he says, Avidyasmitara Avinivesh Dura Para Ragadesha Ei Panchakresha. Oh my dear mind, all I can see is unlimited material miseries and difficulties on all sides. Especially there are these 5 specific troubles: ignorance, distraction, misconcentration, misdirected love, and impurity. Understand? So this asmita, actually we have to pray. Is actually considered egoistic pride, causes me to be distracted from the real essence of life. So basically asmita is that considered egoistic pride, causes me to be distracted from the real essence of life. Real essence of life is Krishna Bhakti. And this asmita actually, so actually this asmita causes a problem. For my heart, I feel 5 endless sufferings. Bhaktivinoda Thakur them endless sufferings. Ore mana klesha tapa dekhi je ajesha avidya smitara avinivesha dura bara ragatesha ehi panchakresha. Oh my heart, I see 5 endless. false ego. Number 3 is avinivesh, being absorbed in material things. Number 4 is duravar raga, irresistible attachment, durvar raga. And number 5 is dvesha, aversion. So these are all problems actually. They are obstacles. This asmita, this false ego, is actually in Bhagavad Gita says, Maya sukhe matta jiva Shri Krishna mulilo se avidya bhashe asmita janmilo Maya sukhe matta jiva Shri Krishna mulilo se avidya bhashe asmita janmilo. Intoxicated by Maya's pleasures, the soul forgets Lord Krishna. In the grip of ignorance, he finds material false ego. Take birth very deep. This is all asmita coming from forgetfulness of Krishna. Asmita haite hailo maya avinivesha haite jadagata raga dvesha. From false ego. So from this asmita comes a rapt meditation on Maya. And this is called avinivesh. And from that comes material attraction and aversion. So they're all interconnected, understand? From asmita, then avinivesh comes. From that comes rasa. So actually, Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has actually told these things. Obstacles arising from impasse thinking, anartha nivritti, and wrongdoings as well as fivefold miseries. Avidya means to mistake a changeable and transitory object for an eternal entity. Avidya. Of this material world. We think that it is an eternal entity. And to misidentify one's own self with one's gross physical body and one's subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. This is called asmita. Asmita means actually we are neither gross body, we are not subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and force. But that is actually we are identifying with that, and that is actually Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this Rupa Goswami says that actually that is the problem. Misidentification of one's own self with one's gross physical body and one's subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. Then there is some raga. Raga is actually matter attachment. Understand? So raga is to objects or sense experiences. For example, form, rupa, taste, rasa, smell, gandha, touch, sparsha, and sound, shabda. Corresponding to fire, water, earth, air, and earth. So we are attached to sense experience, which especially we want to see beautiful form, we want to test very delicious taste, rasa. We want to smell some nice fragrance or called raga. Then actually dvesha. Dvesha is aversion or hatred. Dvesha, anger against opposition to the enjoyment of the senses. If any opposition comes to the enjoyment of the senses, then dvesha comes. Then avinivesh, material absorption. Avinivesh is to misconceive one as dead when the physical body and the phenomenal objects of physical enjoyment are destroyed. It's actually a misconception that actually when we die, we think I'm dead. When the body is gone, or these phenomenal objects of physical enjoyments are destroyed, we think we are dead. This is called abhinivation. So these are all actually obstacles. So we have to in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is repeatedly hammered this raga, dvesha, apathy and sympathy. He's telling us that Lord Krishna has hammered the apathy and so apathy and sympathy. Apathy and sympathy. Raga Dvesha Vinimuktais. Bhagavad Gita 2.64. So these two are our enemies. Bhagavad Gita 2.64, you'll see that Krishna is telling that you should give up Raga Dvesha, Raga and Dvesha, apathy and sympathy. We should try to so Krishna is the exact verse is the Ragatvestu Vishayan Indriyaishcharan Atmavasher Vidheyatma Prasadam Adhigachati Ragadvesha Vimuktastu Vishayan Indriyaishcharan Atmavashan Vidheyatma Prasadam Adhigachati. Vidheyatma, a man of controlled senses. To, however, Vimukta, who is free from raga, adhikachati, attains prasadam, joyfulness, chal, even while enjoying vishayan, sense objects, indriyahi, the senses, atmavashyahi, which are under his control. A man of controlled senses, however, who is free from attachment and aversion, attains happiness of mind even while enjoying various objects to his senses. So here, Arjun previously asked, how does one who is speaker behave? It is also this question Bhagavan speaks this shloka beginning in Raga. Since the mind cannot directly accept sense objects, there is no fault in accepting sense objects with controlled senses. With Atma means one whose Atma mind is fit in the instructions of Bhagavan. Prasadam Adhigachati implies that there is no fault if such qualified person accepts sense objects. Rather, it is specifically to their credit because they see that everything is related to Bhagavan. One who is Sthita Prajna may or may not give up sense objects, may or may not be motivated to attain them. In any case, everything is auspicious for him. So here, even when the external senses are controlled by keeping them aloof from the sense objects, the mind does not stop thinking of them. Such a renunciation is good for a fool or useless for a market vairagya, monkey renouncement. Stated in Gita 3.6, Karmendriyani Sayyamya Yastivas. When a sadhaka practices appropriate renunciation, yukta vairagya, and worships Sri Bhagavan, he can control his mind absorbed in thinking of his worshipable deity. When he has reached such stage, there is no fault in accepting those subjects which are favorable to those which are unfavorable. Understand? So here, Krishna is telling us, accept the subject necessary, but don't be attached to them. So Raga, Dvesha, this is how he is telling. So these are all, they have already been described in the second shower. Now we are in the third shower. In essence, because living entities were ambushed to the service of Krishna since a time without beginning, but these ill motives, they are bound by ignorance, avidya. As a result, they develop the false egoism that the body is I and anything related to the body's mind. Thus, they develop attachment, raga, to their material objects of sense gratification and affection for them. And they feel deep aversion to the threefold miseries. So here, threefold miseries have been explained. Number one is suffering inflicted by one's own mind and body, known as adhyatmika. This adhyatmika creation. Suffering inflicted by one's own body and mind is adhyatmika creations. We see sometimes that our own mind gives us trouble. So, and then number two is suffering inflicted by others, known as adhyatmika creations. Other living entities also give us suffering. Number three is suffering inflicted by the demigods or material nature, generally in the form of drought, floods, famine, and so on, known as Aridayvika. Now, this is actually very common. You see that South Africa there was flooding, in Assam there is flooding. In my own town where I was brought up, Akola, there was a Murna river not so much experienced, but yes, and sometimes drought continuously 2-3 years, no rain was there in Maharashtra. People were suffering. I was in Maharashtra at that time, water shortage. Understand? So they're all categorized as heavy fishes. But Krishna has given Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 56th verse, states, Dukkeshu anabhignamana sukheshu vigataspuha vitaraga bhaya krodhas titadir munirochyate. Anudvignama, one whose mind is agitated. Dukkeshu, in the presence of threefold miseries. When the threefold miseries come, the mind should be unagitated, not agitated. Vigataspuha, and remains free from hankerings. Sukheshu, in the presence of sense pleasures. One who is free from raga, attachment, bhaya, fear, krodha, and anger, which is called muni, a sage, sthitati, of fixed intelligence. One who is not disturbed by the three types of miseries, adhyatmika, adhibhautik, and adhyavic relations, who remains free from desires in the presence of happiness and is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a steady-minded sage. So here, how does one who is Tita Pragya speak? To answer this question, Shri Bhagavan speaks the present shloka, beginning with Dukkeshu, and also in the next shloka. Dukkeshu means the threefold miseries, adhyatmic, adhibhautik, and adhyavic. Hunger, thirst, fever, headache, and so on, coming from one's own body and mind are adhyatmika miseries. Adhyatmika miseries, understand? Adhibhautik miseries are those caused by other living entities, such as a snake, tiger. Miseries such as excessive rain or natural disasters caused by the deva are called adhyavic. Anudvignama refers to a person who, when faced by such miseries, thinks, I attract these miseries due to my past actions, suffer them. Knowing this, he even deliberates upon this within himself and understanding this misery to be due to his prarabdha karma, or he speaks openly and without duplicity when questioned by others. In any case, his face shows no agitation, even in the presence of these miseries. This absence of disturbance is evident to those who are expert in reading such symptoms. However, it appears an imitation of immediate artificially manifest symptoms of tolerance. Those who are expert or infected. Similarly, those who remain free from desires when a health situation appears, knowing it to be prarabdha bhoga, enjoyment resulting from past actions, either contemplate this within themselves or enlighten others. This response is also understood by the learned men. So here, actually, you'll see that we have to tolerate all these things. Vitaraga. There are Vitaranga means those who remain detached from happiness. Vita bhaya. Those who remain free from the fear that entitles such as tigers may eat them. Vita krodha. They do not feel anger even towards a person who comes to attack or kill them. For example, no fear or anger arose in Jada Bharat when the dacoit king Kushala took him to the deity of Devi Kali as a human sacrifice. Bharat Maharaj. We can see in a person whose heart is not disturbed by the threefold miseries, adhyatmika, adhibhautika, adhyaika, who is devoid of the desire to attain happiness and who does not become elated when happiness comes to him, is called Tikvaki. न प्रहृष्येत प्रियं प्राप्य न द्विजेत प्राप्य च प्रियं स्थिर बुद्धिर असम्मोहो brahmavid brahmani sthita. A person who does not become elated when attaining that which is favorable or deep is called sthita prajna. The example of this is the life history of Bharat Maharaj as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bharat Maharaj was worshipping the last part of his life. He became attached to an infant deer, and due to the state of his mind, he left his body. He took birth as a deer. However, because he remembered his previous birth remained separate from the association of family and friends, and spent his time in the hermitages of the sages, hearing topics of Sri Bhagavan. As a result of his worship of Bhagavan in his previous life, he took his next birth in the house of a religiously devoted Brahman. Internally, he always remembered Sri Bhagavan, but externally, he kept himself completely aloof by pretending to be a dullard, even though his father tried to make him learn the Vedas. Jadabharat tolerated ill treatment and taunts by his stepfather, stepmother, stepbrothers, and relatives while remaining ecstatically absorbed in the worship of Bhagavan. Once Vrishala Raj, the king of thieves, desired a son, and he wanted to offer his Ishta Devi, worshipable goddess Bharat, Bhadrakali, a human being who was free from rituals. He had previously captured a suitable person for sacrifice, but somehow the man had escaped. When the dacoit king was wandering in search of another suitable person to sacrifice, he saw the Mahabhagavad Jalaparal protecting his family's spirits. The king became happy when he saw that Jalaparal was blessed with a body appropriate for the sacrifice. According to the rules for sacrificing a human, he fed Jalaparal nicely, decorated him with turmeric powder, garlands, and chandana, and eventually presented him in front of Kali, Devi as an offering. Even after seeing, hearing, and being aware of all this, angry. Rather, he, rather to see where Jadabharat said, Kali Devi, he herself appeared in a ferocious form, making a loud noise. She snatched the sword from the hand of King Ushala and beheaded him and his followers. After drinking their blood, she danced and played with their heads as if they were balls. With great affection, he sent the Mahabhagavad Jadabharat on his way. This deity of Bhadraka is still present in Kurukshetra. But equally, instead of Jadabharat Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami says to Parikshit Maharaj, Bhagavan Shri Vishnu who carries the effervescent fire is death personified. Is death to death personified. He is always anxious to look after the bhaktas. O Vishnu, he completely protects such Param Bhagavat, Paramhansas who have become free from falsely identifying the body as the self, who have performed the very difficult task of severing the knot of mundane attachment, whose hearts are anxiously absorbed in thoughts of doing welfare to all living entities, and who neither harm others nor feel envy towards them. Such Paramahamsas who accept the shadow of Sri Bhagavan's fearless lotus feet are never disappointed, even at the time of their own execution. There is nothing surprising about this. And see that here, Ahikla Pragya Maharaj. So, anyways, um, so here, the consequences of such attachment to the body and bodily relationships and intense absorption of Vinivesh in them is that deep impressions are made in the living entity's heart. It obstruct one's ability to perform Shravan and Kirtan at a time of devotional practice and are therefore called Dushkruti Jat Anarthas, Dushkrutyotta Anarthas. Understand? So, Vinivesh. We have to be very careful. Vinivesh means Ditya Vinivesh. Ditya Vinivesh. So, Nirguna Bhakti is Annimila Shita Shunyam, devoid of duality of the material world, which arises from Ditya Vinivesh, forgetfulness of Krishna, anything. And he observes the performer favorably in continuous service to me, Purushottama. To forget Krishna and become absorbed in Maya is called Ditya Vinivesh, absorption in the second or false object, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37. This gives rise to various separate interests such as I, mine, you, and yours. So this is called Abhinivesh. We should have Abhinivesh, not Sadhana Abhinivesh. We should have observed in our sadhana bhajan, not in the body and the relatives and friends and family. So, and we should not have this Durabhinivesh. Durabhinivesh means attachment for sinful activities there's also a problem. If you're attached to sinful activities, then that type of abhinivesh actually has to be given up. Abhinivesh means material absorption or absorption in something that is not really there. Uh, Understanding. So, this abhinivesh is forbidden and bhayam dvya abhinivesh. Isha tapitasya viparyo smrti tanmaya Udhavachittam Bhaktikesham Gurudevatatma. So in this Abhinivesh and to be attached to the trivial objects, this is actually forbidden in this. So now, Sukrutyutthanas are discussed in the temporary heavenly planets and so forth. And they are the results of performing pious orders, selfishly motivated actions, karmas in past lives. These desires are the obstacles known as Sukrutyutthanartha. Desire for material enjoyment arising in the heart of the sadhaka at the time of devotional practice are the result of impressions created by past pious activities and are called Sukriti Jat Anarthas. Sukrityottanartha. So Sukrityottanartha and then Dushkrityottanartha. So sometimes we have committed some punya actually, and then that also causes problems. Huh? So we have to be very careful. But real Sukruti is actually Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha will bestow that Sukruti. So actually our good fortune is, against the fruit of Sukruti accumulated in birth after birth, and on the awakening of this bhakti one develops an affection for Sadhu Sangha. Now material Sukruti or material pious activities will lead you to the heaven. But like circumambulating Tulsi, fasting on Ekadashi, visiting the holy Dham of Vrindavan, hearing Harikatha, this type of Sukruti, which accumulated over birth and birth, this will cause an affection for Sadhu Sangha. Understand? Sukruti, Bhakti Unmukh Sukruti, that is, Sukruti is very important, but Bhakti Unmukh Sukruti. Desire for material enjoyment arising in the heart of the sadhaka at the time of devotional practice are the result of impressions created by past pious activities and are called Sukruti Jatanarthas, Sukruti Uttanarthas. The desire for liberation is also Sukruti Jatanartha. It is never possible to taste bhajan rasa as long as the heart yearns for either material enjoyment or liberation. It is thus said, Mukti Mukti Skruha Java Vishachi Rudivartate Tavad Bhakti Sukhasyantra Katam Abhyudayo Bhavet. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.21. Mukti Mukti Skruha Java Vishachi Rudivartate. As long as the two wishes of the desire for material enjoyment and for liberation from material bondage remain in the heart, how can the transcendental bliss of pure devotion possibly arise? Mukti Mukti Spraha, Yavat Shachi Rudi Vartate, Tavat Bhakti Sukhasyatra, Tatham Abhyudaya Bhavet. Shri Krishna Charanam Bhoja Seva Nivritta Chetsa, Esha Mokshaya Bhaktanam Narajit Spraha Bhavet. So this desire for liberation and desire for sense gratification, you have to forsake them. So Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj in the Art of Sadhana chapter is referring Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.22. Chaitanya Charitamrita also the same performs in Bhakti Leela 19th chapter 76. Exploitation and renunciation. So Bhakti Raksha Maharaj is let us follow the angels. He says the real spirit. Exploitation Exploitation and renunciation, mukti, mukti, spura, these two are great enemies of devotion. The tendency to exploit and the tendency to renounce. When one has eaten too much, as a result, one wants to abstain from eating. Liberation moksha is only a reaction to exploitation. It may appear that we are in the quest for duty, money, sense pleasure, and liberation, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But this is an external and partial examination of our experience. With a deeper assessment, we'll find that we are eagerly searching only for rasam, sundara, the fullest satisfaction, the perfect beauty. Dharma, artha, and kama cannot satisfy our inner need. Is not the goal. Mere liberation from the negative is artificial. Life must have its fulfillment. Everything has its fulfillment and necessary position. Life is not meant for nothing, and zero cannot be the sum total of our existence. The conclusion is infinite and not zero. Mere liberation to remain in a long, deep slumber is destructive and incomplete. It cannot be the object of creation or the object of our existence. The other side must be researched, the Chidvilas, the transcendental dynamic plane. And where can we get that? Here in this world is exploitation. And there is just opposite, dedication. Both exploitation and renunciation must be eliminated, and we should live in the third plane of dedication. The third plane is the life of dedication, a life of duty, not to any part, but to the whole. I live for the whole, and that whole is a part of Lord Krishna. This is what it means to be a lover of the beautiful. In that way, we have to understand and march onward. And that is full in itself, perfect. Neither of these two, the negative and the renunciation of the negative, can bring real positive gain. The positive is not a mere withdrawal from the negative experience. The positive is we must come in contact with the positive Satchidananda, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. We must commit ourselves in all phases, whatever is possible for us. So here, as long as these two wishes of the desire for material enjoyment and for liberation from mundane bondage remain in the heart, how can the transcendental bliss of pure devotion possibly arise? Now, for this reason, Patanjali and other prominent great sages have included the category of Sukurti Chatanartha within the previously mentioned five types of miseries, pleasures such as avidya and asmita. Aparadottanarthas are obstacles arising from offenses. These anarthas are for the most part the greatest impediment in the performance of bhajan. So actually here now, aparadha. So we have to be very, very careful of aparadha. Jagannatha Pandit has written in Prema Vivartan, Asadu Sangete Bhai Nama Nahi Bhaiva Nama Akshara Bahiraya Bate Nama Kabunaya Kabunama Vasa Sadahaya Nama Parada Ek Sabhajani Me Bhai Krishna Tirbada Jai Kari Me Krishna Nama Sadhu Sangkara Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Vancha. Oh brother, you cannot chant holy name in the association of non-devotees. The sounds of the holy name may come out of your mouth, but it will not really be the name. It will sometimes be the name of reflection, name's reflection, namavas, and sometimes offensive chanting namaprat. But brother, you should know that in either case, this kind of chanting interferes with the attainment of pure devotion to Krishna. If you want to chant the holy names, then associate with the devotees and keep desires for self-enjoyment, liberation, yogic powers at a distance. Devishaya Punjakarala Krishna Nama Krishna Bhakti Anukula Sabakara Svikara Krishna Bhakti Pratikula Sabakara Parihara Jnana Yoga Cheshta Chada Ara Karma Sangha Markata Vairagya Tyaja Jati Deharamka Krishna Amare Pale Rakhe Jana Sarvakala Atmanivedana Janjala Sadhu Paya Kashta Bada Chivera Chamiya Sadhu Bhakta Rupe Krishna Aila Kadiya Gura Padashraya Karah Buddhimana Gura Pai Sadhu Guru Ache Kevana. Give up that 10 offenses to the holy name, as well as worrying about receiving respect or criticism. Consume what you need without attachment and always in the holy name. Accept everything which ever special to Krishna and reject everything which interferes with its practice. Abandon any effort for liberation and mystic power as well as devotion mixed with karma. Above all, give up the false renunciation of the monkey's image, bodily consciousness and attachment, self-gratification. Remain strong in the knowledge that Krishna is always taking care of you. Offer yourself to Krishna completely and humility become free from all entanglements. It is very difficult for an ordinary person the association of genuine city persons. Krishna himself knows this, and so he kindly came to Nadia in the form of a saintly devotee. An intelligent person takes shelter of Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. For such a person knows that other than Mahaprabhu, there is no true saint or spiritual master. So here, if you want to become from Aparad, then you have to associate with sadhus. Understand? So, these Tanarthas are dangerous. It is for this reason that Srila Vishwanath Thakur has elaborated on them. From a general perspective, offense and sin appear to be synonymous, but devotional scriptures clarify that there is a huge difference between them. Merely a semblance, abhas or bhajan, vanquishes a host of sins, just as a fire completely destroys a massive stack of cotton, but an offense is not so easily vanquished. It is only by acknowledging one's offense and bitterly lamenting for it that atonement is possible. So actually, Namabhas. Namabhas. Namabhas Kavirta Bhavantu Dasham Tatman Sanami Bhakti Pranayini. Tastva Janti Bhagavan Nama Tarani Patinte Nirvaktam Kaha Maimana Bhavati. The Namabhas will destroy all the sins. Namavas is very powerful. It will destroy all your sins. No doubt about it. For example, Sri Bhakti Prabhupada Maharaj tells this that the Padma Puran states that to be exonerated of one's sins, the purifying power of holiness is far more potent than all the methods of penances recommended in the scriptures. So if you want to get rid of your sins, take the holy name. The purifying power of the holy name is far superior, far more potent than other atonements, other methods of penances. However, not even the holy name can protect one who offends or blasphemes a devotee of the Lord. Even the holy name cannot protect a blasphemer or offender. Understand? If you blaspheme a devotee of the Lord or if you offend a devotee of the Lord, then even the holy name cannot protect you. When Vaishnava Aparadha is committed, the offender cannot benefit from Namabhas or from Shuddhanam until he is absolved of his offenses. The Namabhas or Shuddhanam also cannot protect an Vaishnava offender. One is offended a Vaishnava. So we have to be very careful. Namabhas is very powerful, no doubt about it. There is no doubt that Namabhas can burn all the sins. sins of a person who chants namas are destroyed. And he goes beyond birth and death. And we see from the examples of Ajamil and others. Apart from this, Shastra opposes the performance of Preta Shraddha. Now, actually, a question may come that actually some Shraddha Paksha was there, right? People were doing Shraddha. Like when Srila Saraswati Prabhupada left the world, understand? So, some of Srila Prabhupada disciples wanted to perform his Shraddha Samskar. According to the Smart tradition, wanted to do his Shraddha. But again, consider Prabhu means Shibra Bihari Brahmachari. Shri Gyati Vishai Maharaj. He went to oppose this proposal. According to the Smarta doctrine, he said, everyone becomes a ghost, preta, when they die. It is to deliver people from this ghostly condition that one has to perform their preta shraddha. However, according to Vishnu doctrine, the sins of a person who chants namadas are destroyed. Even namadas, Sankirtam Parihasyam was Sobhamira, Vaikunta Namakarana Ashishaga, jokingly also chanting, all the sins are destroyed. Understand? And he goes beyond birth and death. So we see from the examples of Ajamil and others. Apart from that, Shastra opposes the performance of Preta Shraddha Vaishnavas who have been devoted to Ekantiki, single focused Krishna Bhakti, and who have chanted Shuddhanam for their whole life. So what is the need of committing Preta Shraddha for Prabhupada? Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada. Bihari Brahmachari opposed that. So Prabhupada, the crown of liberated souls, is a Nitya Siddha Palikar of Krishna, eternal Lord of God. Not only that, he is Krishna Priya, Shiva Shivana, is Shiva Shiva is possible. Who will have purpose to Shanta? There's a fundamental difference between the Sattvata Shanta of the Vaishnavas and the Shanta of the Smartas. According to Haribhakti Vilas, Satkriya Sarthipiti and other Vaishnavas, the only Sattvat Shabda for Vaishnavas is the offering of Bhagavad Prasad. The offering of the soul Vaishnava, that is the Vaishnava Shabda. Observance of Viraha Motsava Vaishnava. Prabhupada put a sweet. So he said, Namadas destroys all the sins, no need of any other Shraddha for Vaishnava. So you see that here, the power of Namabhas actually, power of Namabhas. Once Srila Gurudeva has got brother by the name Anand Mohan. He left this world. Gurudev says, while I was there, I never saw his face disturbed. He was afflicted by tuberculosis, very dangerous disease, and he was vomiting blood and all. He was very serious. Still, Gurudev never saw his face disturbed. During the whole period of his stay in the hospital, Gurudev took him to Tambaram Hospital near Chennai. Param Gurudev wanted to go with, but Gurudev said, no, you don't go, I will go. He happily chanted the names of Bhagwan or he listened loving to Srimad Bhagavatam and Shri Chaitanya, which read to him regularly. All the doctors, young and old, were very attracted to his gentle behavior. On the day of his passing, he suddenly said, Sharan Brahmachari was about to leave the world, calling out, Shri Radha Krishna are calling me to Vrindavan. Jai Shri Radha, Jai Shri Krishna, Hey Gaura Chandra, Hey Nityananda Prabhu, Hey Gurudev. With folded hands, I requested him, Prabhu, please bestow your mercy upon me and in Vrindavan call me also. Upon learning that Sharan Mohan was to depart, I have then started to examine him. He hinted to us with a gesture that the woman should be removed from the assembly. The woman should not be there, he said. He took his last breath saying, Ha Krishna, all the doctors and visitors were struck with wonder. I meditated on this incident very seriously. Amil became free from the sufferings of birth and death and attained Vaikuntha Dham simply by the performance of Namadas. When he uttered the name Narayan to call his son, what then can be said of someone who has still faith in his Guru and who is always chanting the name of Krishna Aparadhan with Samandaya. In his last moment, he was in such good consciousness, chanting, Hey Radhe, Hey Krishna, and telling us Radha and Krishna are calling me to Vrindavan. What will be the destiny of such a high-class Guru Seva? Surely, we were never able to imagine the glories of this Bhakta earlier. His life is blessed. His Guru Seva is very good. And understood that this was possible only by and not by any special sadhana bhajan. My faith in our worshipful Shri Gurudev was intensified. When I returned from Tamram, I devoted myself to his seva very faithfully. So actually, Guru Seva, small child, he left the world, but he was chanting the name of Radha and Krishna by the power of Guru. So here you see that apparently we have to be very careful. We should be very careful of not offending any Vaishnava or Gurudev. So, since none of us can, just as a fire competitive stack of cotton, understand, which is not so easily vanquished. It is only by acknowledging one's offense and bitterly lamenting for it that atonement is possible. A sinful person can easily achieve perfection on the strength of his bhajan, but it is never possible for an offensive person to attain perfection. One may be very sinful, let him chant the holy name, even Navabhas. Um, all the sins will burn to ashes. So there are many actually in scripture you'll find so many evidences of this Navabhas, destroying the sins. Um, the biography. Take Harinam continuously. You are always pure. Bhagavan is Narasimha, they will protect you. You should always remember that the Vaishnavas and deeds of Bhagavan are always forever pure. Impurity never touches them, even during birth and death. So Vaishnavas are always pure actually. What to speak of Vaishnavas? Anyone who takes shelter of Harinam is relieved of the reactions of all past, present and future sinful activities. Even if they have murdered their parents, if someone has even murdered the parents, if you take shelter of Harinam, you are free from that sin. Committed adultery or perpetrated the most grievous sins. It is quite clear in Krishna Bhagavatam that when the greatly sinful Ajamil called out the name Narayan, at the time of death he was calling his son. Therefore, this was Namaras, not Shabdana. Even so, Ajamil's reactions were all dispelled simply by the influence of his Namaras. His death retreated, and afterwards, when he took Harinam in the association of sadhus, he attained his destination of Vaikuntha. This is the power of the Namaras. So, Srila Gurudev also told them, Sankirtam Parihasam Swabam Helna Shivad Bhagavatam 6.2.14. One may utter Shri Krishna Nam to indicate something else that is jokingly, parihas, antagonistically, stoba, or even disrespectfully hela. Doesn't people know that these four types of shadow namabhas destroy unlimited sins? Is the power of the Holy Name. You should know that there is always a rain. You should know that there are so many kinds of things. Not all types of namas, Chaya namas or semblance of the pure rain, obscured by the sun, covered by clouds, which does not manifest its full brilliance. And Pratibimba namas, the same. All sins will not go away by Pratibimba namas. A Mayavadi may chant like this, but they will go endeavoring to chant for bhakti. So Mayavadi chanting the holy name, Pratibimba Namamas, that will not destroy your sins. But if you can chant Namamas, semblance of the pure name, spread by ignorance and another, like the sun covered by clouds, which does not manifest its full brilliance. Like sun is very brilliant, but it's covered by clouds. Oh, then it doesn't manifest the full brilliance. So our ignorance and anarthas cover the sun of the holy name. That is Namavas. So you'll see that Namavas is very powerful. Actually, Gurudev is also telling. Um, Maharaj was asking Gurudev, you should know that there are so many kinds of Namavas. So here again he has told, when Srila Swami Maharaj came and the hippies were chanting Hare Krishna, they were not Mayavadis, but they were ignorant and innocent. Can this type of chanting be said to be Chaya Namavas? The Gurudev is telling yes, hippies what they were chanting were Chaya. Now Shubhat Ashram was asking, will all sinful activities go away by that chanting? The Gurudev is telling yes, but when will they go? At once or gradually. When the robe is burnt by fire, is its form is still there. Calling his son, whose name was Narayan, Ajamba repeatedly chanted Namavas. O Narayan come, O Narayan come, O Narayan come. He did this up until the last day of his life, and his simple reactions were like burnt robe. So Vishwanath Thakur has explained that his first Namavas was enough to burn his past sins. But he repeatedly did so, and therefore his chanting was like a sadhana. Although he was not aware of the results of such chanting, all his offenses, sins, prarabdha reactions that have already fructified, aprarabdha reactions not yet fructified, kuta reactions lying dormant, and with the ignorance, the cause of sin were gone. Shiva Ashram Maharaj, with the first Namavas, and Guru is telling, with the first or by gradually doing, so all his sins, prarabdha, aprarabdha, kuta were gone. He never realized until he saw his death had been stopped. Because at that time he heard the dialogue of the Vishnudutas and the Yamudutas. Hearing very minutely from them the glories of the chanting of the holy name, he thought, oh, they have glorified Narayana in his kirtan. They are my gurus. He wanted to touch their feet, but they disappeared before he could do so. At that time he realized, I have chanted and the flute is left, my death has been stopped. I should now chant the pure mantra. He then went to Haridwar and practiced. I don't know for how many months or years. At the time it was Satyuga, so it may have been thousands and thousands of years. In the course of time, he developed love for Param Vyoma, Vaikuntha Narayan, and he was totally purified. The Vishnu Thus came again at that time. They checked to see if something was still lacking, but they saw that his work towards full purification had now been completed, and they took him back with them to Vaikuntha. This is the power of the holy name. We see that Vishnu Thus also came to Dhruva at the time of death. He said to them, where is my mother? He had some attachment, and that is why he was stopped from going to Vaikuntha. And instead he went to Dhruvaloka, which is Vishnu Loka here in this universe. He was not fully liberated like Ajamil. Ajamil went to Vaikuntha and Dhruva was stopped in this universe and went to Loka, also called Rama Vaikuntha. Don't doubt this. Madhura Madhura Medan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakala Nigamavalli Sakadam Swarupam Sukrta Viparigita Shataya Helayava Matram Tare Krishnama. Krishna is the sweetest of sweet and the most auspicious of all that is auspicious. It is the flourishing creeper, eternal ripened fruit of the Bhagavad, and the embodiment of knowledge, Shakti, O best of the Brahma dynasty. Even if someone chants the holy name only once, with faith or indifference, he is immediately delivered from this ocean of birth and death. Haribhakti last 11 point. Even one name is enough. Sukradaparigirtam Shraddhaya. If one chants with Shraddha, honor, and faith, and even if one chants Helaya without it, in other words, if he chants Namavas, even that Namavas will cross all sinful reactions. So Samarthini asking, good day, you are talking about the people who were ignorantly or innocently chanting Hare Krishna. Whenever Prabhupada came to America, and then how you started talking about the burnt robe. You didn't finish. What is their situation? So Srila Gurudev is telling in Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter, second sloka, it is written, Dharma Pruchitokaitam Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vidyam Vastav Atra Vastu Shivaram Tapatrayam Moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamani Krute Kimba Param Ishvara Sadhyorudhya Vardhati Atra Krutihi Susru Vidakshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from the illusion for the welfare of all. This truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavad, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need for any scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Satyodya Varattati Aprakrutivi Shruvitakshana. What is the meaning of Takshana? What is telling immediately? Srila Gurudev is telling immediately what is the meaning here. One may be full of anarthas, but he now begins to hear the Harikatha. Srimad Bhagavatam, others are hearing with taste and shraddha. But we are not in Golokul Vrindavan. Why not? The word Kshana is therefore used properly here. You have been in this world for unlimited time, and if you are now on the path of perfection, if you are now on the way, it's the Kshana. In comparison to unlimited time, if in a year or 2 years or two births one becomes purified, that is the Kshana. Try to reconcile this. So Srila Gurudev is telling, and Bhajanavad Prabhu is telling, the example is also given that when you take out the plug of a fan, it's still running, but it will stop very soon. Srila Gurudev is telling, yes, if you will stop pedaling on a cycle, it will continue to move for a short time. The driver of a train steps on the brakes and the train continues to go on for 2 miles, 3 miles, or 4 miles. So it has stopped. Thus, there is no harm using the word takshat. So actually, yes, it is the power. So Radha Das is asking, my many hippies were chanting Namaras and some were not chanting Namaras. I want to put the Yamaduta. So Buddha is telling, don't doubt. This is your land. Don't doubt. The Yamadutas had never seen this before. Radha Das is asking. Yamadutas had never seen this before. So Buddha is telling, the Yamadutas can do wrong, but not the Vishnudutas. Yamadutas came to take Ajamil. They had never heard of this situation before. So Naravas must be very rare. So Gurudev is telling, no, it is not rare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu came for this. Those who do not commit an offense to Vaishnavas, the first of the 10 of Namaprabhus, will do Namaprabhus. Somehow they are on the way. Very soon, in some way, they will become pure. Don't doubt this. What has been written in Shastra is correct. So Gurudev Naradas is asking, Namadas cannot destroy aparats? The Gurudev is saying, yes, actually. If one chants Namadas continuously, it will not commit aparat. If you fall down on the earth, you can stand up by taking shelter of the same earth. Similarly, if you have done anything wrong or committed any offense, if you chant again with repentance, so Srila Gurudev is telling that come with strong full belief, don't have any doubt, always respect it. So there's actually a good discussion about Namabhas. So don't commit offenses, is the word, and always chant even Namabhas no harm. But don't criticize Vaishnavas, don't commit offense to Guru Vaishnavas. So here, to harm other living entity, to steal, to illicit relation with another's wife, to engage in useless gossip and argument, to use harsh language, to behave in a fiendish manner, to perform improper acts, to give distress to another, to criticize others, to drink alcohol, to drink liquor, to eat meat, eggs, and other forbidden foodstuffs, have been classified in the Sruti Shastra as sin. So we should not drink this liquor, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So see that Krishna actually, Krishna's name is actually very powerful. So many hippies are doing all this nonsense, but they slowly became purified by the power of the holy name and Mahaprasad. Um, so Krishna's prem is completely pure. It is completely transcendental. The symptom of one who has even a particle of Shraddha is that he will commit himself. Now I will never give up chanting Hare Krishna. I will not give up saying the name of Krishna. Even if someone cuts my body into 1,000 pieces, this is the symptom. No matter what or how many obstacles come in his path, he will continue his practice of bhakti. On the other hand, some other persons have taken Diksha, served their Gurudev, had taken sannyas and have preached all over the world for 25 years. But then what happened? For some time they served so nicely, but then they became attracted to a woman and then they wanted to completely give up their devotion. They started eating meat and taking liquor and they stopped chanting. This means they did not even have Shraddha. So this actually is Shraddha. We should have actually Shraddha. So there is a big difference between Lokik Shraddha or mundane faith and Paramatik Shraddha, transcendental faith. Paramatik Shraddha means that one has committed himself, just as the highest stage of prema in Srimati Radhika is permanent. The smallest fraction of the transcendental love, Paramatik Shraddha, can also never fade. It has sprouted in anyone's hearts, it will continue to grow and grow. So actually, at least we should have that Paramatik Shraddha. So actually, we are not permitted to take liquor and all those things. Kshatriyas are permitted. Kshatriyas are permitted. Kshatriyas are permitted to drink at certain occasions. So they all drank kind of light liquor made of rice. So you see that actually um, once they all gathered, actually they drank the liquor made from rice. Members of Kshatriyas dynasty, Vrishni and Bhoja. By such drinking, they become delirious and bereft of senses. So much that they forgot their relationship with one another and used harsh words, which touched the cores of each other's hearts. Drinking is so harmful that even such a highly cultured family becomes affected by intoxication and can forget themselves in a drunken state. The descendants of Vrishni and Bhoja were not expected to forget themselves in this way, but by the will of the Supreme, it happened. And thus they became harsh towards one another. So you see that liquor destroyed this Vrishni and Bhoja dynasty. Liquor is so dangerous. But Krishna's will this happen? Um, so we should be very, very careful. So these are all papa. And they have been divided into 9 types. Ati papa, Ati pataka, Mahapataka, Anupataka, Upapataka, and Sankari Gana, Apatrikarana, Jati Bhamshakara, and Malabha and Prakirana. So all this type of, please refer to Bhakti Siddhanta commentary on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda, in which he provides an extensive description of this classification of sins. So there is Ati Pataka, and all these things have been described. Ati Pataka. Uh, so we should actually, I think Chaitanya Shikshamrit also is a very good book for Western devotees. It describes Ati Pataka. Um, in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, the 4 miserable conditions are due to the 4 kinds of sinful activities known as Pataka, Kuru Pataka, Mahapataka, and Ati Pataka, preliminary sins. Ati Pataka. So, what are the different names of sin? So, according to its gravity and lightness, the sin is addressed in various names such as Papa, Pataka, Ati Pataka, and Mahapataka. So, it depends on gravity. different gravity, and all these things are described in the scriptures. So basically, following four regulative principles will save us from this Atipataka. Jaiva also describes this. But in Satkriya Sarjit it also is told that even if Vaishnava is engaged in these sins, because the Lord is the only worshipable object and the only shelter for a Vaishnava, devotee has no desire for material benefits gained by the performance of Nitya Naimittik Karma Karma, demigod and Pitru worship, fasting, sacrifice, vows of charity. The meanings of Sankalpa, Dharma, Yaga, sacrifice are already explained. Atonement, Prayashchitta, which is undergone for the purpose of countering the reactions of the four kinds of activities, Mahapataka, Pataka, Upapataka, and Anupataka, is not for the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas don't have to undergo any atonement. In Bhagavad Pancharatra, 3.22.25, the process of atonement for Vaishnava is described. For a Vaishnava, the highest kind of atonement is full surrender to the Lord. Otherwise, one should perform activities welcoming Lord Vasudeva. By seeing the Lord's devotee, touching his feet, serving him, feeding him with cooked grains and water, speaking sweetly, taking the dust of his feet, drinking the water from his feet, eating Mahaprasad of the Lord, and chanting the names of the Lord, one can purify oneself, especially from the contamination of seeing and touching non-devotees. We have to see the devotee of the Lord, touch his feet, serve him, feed him with cooked grains and water, speak sweetly, take the dust of his feet, drink the water from his feet, eat Mahaprasad of the Lord, and chant the names of the Lord. One can purify oneself, especially from the contamination of seeing and touching the non-devotees. So this is no need of any other atonement. So Nitai Gaur Premanande Vanchagatur Vaishyakrupasindhu Pratana Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. So we are stopping here now. We are on page number 187 at the beginning, and we'll begin next class of Shri Madhurika Devani. Thank you very much for attending. Hare Krishna. End of now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Dandavasparam. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Mataji, Shaka Mataji, Mataji, unfortunately, they're having bad network, so that's why they could not remain in the show. So that's they asked me to give them because of the network coverage was not clear. Okay, let me do Jayavani Maharaj.
Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandarvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Ji ki jai. Om Vishnu Parastu Tarashata Shri Shri Bhakti Vedanta Vishnu Deti Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Om Vishnu Shata Shri Shri Bhakti Dantana Dandi Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishto Vishnu Paraswatara Shri Shri Bhakti Vidandana Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishto Parashtotara Shata Shri Shri Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishto Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shri Shri Bhakti भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज की जय। ये कलील प्रविष्टो विष्णु पारस्तोतर शता श्री श्रीमद्भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्यलील प्रविष्टो विष्णु पारस्तोतर शता श्री शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यलील प्रविष्ट परम भगवत प्रवारा श्री शील गौर किशोरदास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री शील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यलील प्रविष्ट सर्वभौमा श्री शील जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री गौर वेदांत श्री श्रील बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्रील विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। श्रील नरोत्तम श्रीनाथ श्यामानंद प्रभु त्राय की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कबीरदास गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री रूप सनातन बादर रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल बाल दास रघुनाथ सत गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वर राय रामानंदी श्री गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय। नामचार श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से गौर श्री कृष्ण प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री अंतर द्वीपाय सीमांत द्वीप गोद्रुम द्वीप मध्याद्वीप कोलद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जानुद्वीप मोद्रुमद्वीप रुद्रद्वीप पद्मकार श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। गोपा गोपी गोवर्धन द्वादश वनात्मकार श्री व्रजमंडल की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गंगा तुलसी भक्ति की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री वर महादेव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ सुभद्र दर्शन चक्र जीव की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल की सर्व विघ्न विनाशकारी श्री नरसिंहदेव की जय। भक्त प्रभार श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चार धाम की जय। चार संप्रदाय की जय। चार चारण की जय। अकर्मत राज श्री चैतन्य मात की जय। श्री श्री केशव जी गौदियमान भूत सकवात्सा माँ की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सामगात भक्त वृंद की जय। श्रीनिध गौर प्रेमनाथ हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you so much. And tomorrow we'll see you for the Jaiva Dharma class. Tomorrow same time, 8 o'clock. The same Google meeting. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.